USA tariffs 2025. Similar to 1930 depression, history repeats itself? What are tariffs anyway? Think of tariffs like a special tax on things we buy from other countries. When you want to buy a toy made in China or a car from Japan, the government adds extra money on top of the regular price. This makes those items more expensive, so people might choose to buy American-made products instead. The big numbers: what's really happening in 2025? The user mentioned an 18% average tariff on 190 countries, but the real story is much more complicated and dramatic. After imports shift in response to the tariffs, the 2025 tariffs bring the overall U.S. effective tariff rate to 16.9%, the highest since 1935. However, different countries face very different rates. Here's what's actually happening right now. Most countries face a basic 10% tariff. China and Hong Kong face a 30% tariff, 10% reciprocal, 20% additional, following a reduction from 145% as part of a temporary deal by calculations from J.P. Morgan. This takes the average effective tariff rate from around 10% to just over 23% for many countries. Some countries will see even higher rates later in 2025. Back to the 1930s. The Smoot-Hawley disaster in 1930. America did something very similar during the Great Depression. It was called the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, named after two politicians who thought it was a great idea. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act raised around 900 import tariffs by an average of 40% to 60%. Back then, politicians thought the same thing as today: if we make foreign goods more expensive, Americans will buy American products, and our economy will get stronger. But here's what really happened. Global trade tanked 65%. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act prolonged the Depression and possibly deepened it around the world, not just in the United States but for other countries. Scary similarities between then and now. The similarities between 1930 and 2025 are like watching the same movie twice. Same reasons both times. Politicians said tariffs would protect American jobs and make the country stronger economically. Same reactions even before its enactment. U.S. trading partners began retaliating by raising their tariff rates, which froze international trade. Today, other countries are already planning their own tariffs against American products. Same high numbers. The 1930s tariffs raised rates by 40–60%, while today's effective rates are reaching over 20% and climbing. Same global impact. Both tariff programs affect trade relationships with dozens of countries worldwide. What this means for regular Americans: when tariffs go up, life gets more expensive for everyone. Here's why: higher prices. That phone, those shoes, even your morning coffee might cost more because many everyday items come from other countries or contain parts made elsewhere. Fewer choices. When foreign products become too expensive, you have fewer options when shopping. Job losses. While some American factories might hire more workers, other businesses that depend on selling to foreign countries will lose customers and may have to fire people. Angry trading partners. Other countries don't just sit quietly when we raise tariffs. They fight back by making American products more expensive in their countries. Will this cause a recession or depression? This is the million-dollar question that keeps economists awake at night. Looking at history and current trends, here's what might happen if these tariffs continue for 3 years. Recession is likely. A recession means the economy shrinks and more people lose jobs. The Smoot-Hawley tariff worsened the crisis by shrinking global trade, hurting farmers, and reducing employment in export-dependent industries. The same pattern could happen again. Depression is possible but less likely. A depression is like a really, really bad recession that lasts for years. In the 1930s, Tariffs didn't cause the Great Depression, but they made it much worse. Today's economy is different. We have better safety nets and the government knows more about how to respond to economic problems. The 3-year timeline matters. If tariffs stay high for 3 full years, the damage builds up like a snowball rolling downhill. Each year makes it harder for the economy to bounce back. The domino effect. Think of the economy like a giant game of dominoes. When you push one piece, it knocks down the next one, and so on. Here's how the tariff dominoes fall. First domino: tariffs make imports expensive. Second domino: other countries get angry and add their own tariffs on American products. Third domino: American companies that sell overseas lose customers. Fourth domino: those companies fire workers or close factories. Fifth domino: unemployed people spend less money, hurting other businesses. Sixth domino: the whole economy slows down. Why this time might be different or not? Some people argue that 2025 isn't 1930. They point out that we have international organizations like the World Trade Organization to help solve trade disputes. Modern economies are more flexible and can adapt faster. Governments today know more about preventing depressions, but others worry that today's global economy is even more connected than in 1930. So damage spreads faster. The tariff rates are climbing toward 1930s levels. Political tensions between countries are already high. The bottom line: history has a way of repeating itself, especially when people forget its lessons. The current tariff situation looks remarkably similar to what happened in 1930, and that didn't end well for anyone. The tariffs implemented under the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act worsened the Great Depression, and there's good reason to worry that today's tariffs could push America toward a recession if they continue for 3 years. The real tragedy is that we've seen this movie before, and we know how it ends. Yet here we are, apparently ready to watch it again. The question isn't whether tariffs will hurt the economy. History shows they will. The question is how much damage we're willing to accept before we change course. As one economist might put it, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it, and unfortunately, the rest of us have to repeat it with them.